What's up guys, hope you're doing good, hope you're doing well. Today we're looking over the TWAB for 5/14/2020. In this one, we have a little bit about the live quest, a lot about sandbox changes, and engrams for past seasonal weapons and armor. Let's start off by seeing what Bungie has said about the live quest so far. In case you don't know what the Lie is, it is a community event where we have to complete 9 million Seraph Tower events, 3 million on Earth, 3 million on Io, and 3 million on the Moon. The thing is, the towers were updated so they were harder to complete, as well as the fail rate has increased by the thousands. It is difficult to find enough people in your instance to team up with, since there is no matchmaking, and at times it just cannot be fun since you're failing most of the time. So expectedly, the community is not participating in the event as much as Bungie had hoped, so they made some changes. Those changes are champions have been reduced to a lower power level, and event progression has been turned up to 10% each tower, so you have one less tower to do. As well as quest progression has been given a 5 times multiplier on every completion, and 10 times multiplier when completed on the weekends. I'd say these are actually pretty good changes. At the rate we were going at, it was going to take months for us to actually complete it way into Season 11, so there was absolutely no way we were going to complete this unless Bungie did something. And as well as another problem there is, on the quest itself, it says complete public events. It does not say complete Seraph Tower events, so there's probably a good amount of people who are out doing regular public events, but none of it's counting. What I would actually love to see is what would Bungie do if we do not complete this in time. They can't auto-complete it for us because it's going to mess up the lore and it's just going to feel like it's a waste of time for what we put in. But, I mean, what would they even do? Would they auto-complete it for us? Would they somehow extend it into Season 11? You know, I don't even know what they would do. I think we will be able to get it done since we do have those multipliers. Especially if we grind it out, maybe one weekend or by next week we should be able to get it done. Moving on to talks about the max power level, the dev team says there are changes coming to the infusion system that will be visible in Season 11 but won't impact you until the fall expansion or Season 12. Some highlights from their changes are talking about sunsetting weapons. We finally have some information on how this will work. In case you don't know what sunsetting is, simply put, a weapon can no longer be upgradable or usable in endgame content, but still usable in other parts of the game. This is in order to let newer and stronger weapons take their place. So for example, you have the Recluse. That could be sunset during this fall expansion, so you would no longer be able to upgrade it past the max power rank that Season 11 gives it. So you can still equip it and use it in multiple activities, but you won't be able to use it in endgame content. Next, they start talking about how these changes will work and really break down how sunsetting works entirely. They first state that each legendary weapon and armor will have a max power it can reach through infusion, but exotics will not have a max power level. The max power level for these items will be set at the player power cap 3 seasons after its release season for 4 seasons total. So they mean that when a new weapon is released, it can be usable in activities where being at or near the power cap is important for 1 year. After that 1 year, those rules no longer apply and it becomes sunset, or you can't upgrade it anymore. This allows Bungie to create new and exciting weapons without every weapon in the game feeling the same. So this could be a new add of trial weapons, exciting weight weapons, awesome looking armor, better stats, new perk rolls, just more innovation instead of the same old for everything in the game right now. In the fall expansion, weapons and armor up to Season 8 become sunset at Season 11 power level. So again, that means if anything that was released in Season 8, after Season 11 is done, it can no longer be upgraded. Weapons and armor in Season 9 through 12 are usable for up to 1 year from their initial release. Also, weapons and armor from the Last Wish and the Garden Raid will have a higher max power level. Lastly, they go over some questions players might have involving sunsetting. Any piece of gear you have can still be equipped after it is sunset. Sunsetting does apply to legendary armor and weapons, but so far there has been no talk about exotics. But I do expect exotics to be sunset in the future. In Season 12, the fall expansion, we will no longer have seasonally rotating mod slots. Instead, we will just have a mod slot that accepts mods introduced to the game throughout the year. They are looking at reissuing gear into future seasons, and this means that any kind of gear they decide to reissue will have an updated max power level based on the season it drops from. So, say Season 8, there's a weapon in Season 8, they decide to bring it back in Season 12. That weapon can now be used up to another year. Moving on to Engram changes. Creatively, Robbie Stevens tells us that in Season 11, seasonal rewards will drop from core activities, meaning strikes, crucible, gambit, and just about any other activity throughout the game. He also states that 2 weapons from Season The Undying, Dawn, and Worthy will return for players to get. I think this is an example of Bungie reissuing weapons, like we mentioned quite a while ago. Next, he tells us a little bit about how next season Engrams will work. Instead of weapon bounties, and he said that the bounty pop will extend beyond year 3 to fix, so in year 4 that's where we will get all the bounty changes. It will instead be a new engram for us to earn. We can then spend seasonal currency, not silver, to influence what we get out of it, whether it is armor or high stat armor. This would be a great change because I think I have about 10,000 of Womai coins or bits, whatever you call them, just sitting in my inventory but don't know where to go. So if I have a way to spend it and I can influence what I get out of an engram, I see that as a positive change. Players with the season pass can access the full suite of focusing categories on the engram, but free players cannot. So the engram is available to everybody, but the focusing mechanic is only available to season pass holders. Now we have a list of where we can earn these engrams, which truly is just about every activity in the game, and it seems like we're getting 2 new activities in the next season. Lastly, he notes that these engrams could drop randomly like legendary engrams, but you get a 66% chance to get the new one and 34% to get a regular legendary. So that is all the information we got from the TWAB of 5/14/2020. I hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up with more news that I put out and other videos that I create. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in the world of Destiny.